A lot of things are.
So you said back in the dark age, but before that, you guys had like filling up with that wasn't normal occurrence back in the day.
Yes.
Yes.
Before, like in the 1990s or.
Early 90s.
Yeah,
Maybe it's late 90s.
Is it every year they
90s.
start that descending like slowly, or is it like sudden drop after 1 year?
I can explain that a little bit better than you guys.
Yeah.
When I joined, yeah, it was pretty much, you would fill 155 to an hour, which hold like 300 people.
Yeah,
at least. Some days, if you showed a big movie, it would be like people who were standing, which I know is a fire hazard, but you know, and then we would have like over 200 members, stuff like that. Then something happened where we lost a lot of money. I'm not going to go into that, but and then like a bunch of the old officers left. This was back in the day when
was that
AX. It was Ronnie.
It was oh, that's right. Okay.
This was back in the day when basically AX was run by Animage officers, like the current officers.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every head of AX was an officer in Animage.
Yeah, I mean Ronnie ran dealer's room.
Mara ran Reg.
Yeah, Mara ran Reg, that's right.
Luke was doing karaoke at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
Andy was doing karaoke as well. And then, well, Mike was still head at the time.
I mean,
like everyone.
I think.
Lionel was never actually part of it.
Oh, whatever was part?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking Leon, never mind.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think he was Pubs. Anyway.
Going past that, what happened was, well, the school started catching on to the fact that we were showing unlicensed stuff, which was a big problem. So they started saying, okay, you know what, you guys need to show us proof that you're getting permission from these companies. And this was between the time that Ronnie left and then Luke became president. And Luke was like, okay, now we can only show now, because it's not feasible to actually get licenses from the Japanese companies. None of us really talk Japanese or whatever. I guess they could have used their connections from AX, but they decided not to do that. Especially since, like, at that time, a lot of the ties were cut off from AX. And so they started showing stuff that they could get from a place called it's a local video store in Berkeley. Image. Anyways, yeah. So basically, all they could show was stuff that you could rent on your own from a local blockbuster. The only reason why they went to this other place was because they had a much bigger selection. And so since it was stuff that everyone had already seen multiple times, because like back then there was very, very, very little put out on video in the US.
This was before like the Dragon Ball Z explosion really kicked the anime industry into overdrive.
So yeah, we lost a lot of members after. And then we eventually started building up back to where it was before, and then the downloading happened. So then
that went to minimal.
Yeah.
People just stayed in their rooms. Even a lot of the officers just stayed in their rooms. Oh god.
There is something else to add to that. Remember, going back to the whole gray area, we couldn't really show certain things because it wasn't licensed. Eventually it ended up being that ADV did have a program where they said you could show some of our stuff, so we filled out the form with them. They sent it back to us saying, sure, you can show all of our stuff. We showed the administration, here we've got this proof that we can show this stuff, and then everything we showed after that was from ADV.
Well, okay, I explained one that.
But it wasn't what it is.
Pretty much always at the time, you could go to any company, whether it was ADV, Viz, Funimation, Animage, and any of those companies, and say, hey, can we show this? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. You know, and of course, ADV was the only company stupid enough to give us a blank form in an unprotected Word document, and it was just like ADV, like, and it had the ADV logo on the top, and it was like you know, you're allowed to show, and literally just a blank space, and blah blah blah, and like, you know, at this date, blank space. So we would just print out a whole bunch of those. Right, whatever the hell we wanted.
like a blank check.
And you know, like we gotta try to be a little bit kind to it by showing maybe like a desk for the weekly, even though they hadn't actually finished. They had only like started putting that out on video. It's like, yeah, we have the whole thing. Like we have a friend who does some kind of like, and we had the whole series, so we showed it. It was technically licensed by ADB.
Subtitling Deshko, I remember those days. Yeah. I did that in high school. Oh God. Deshko was out when I was in high school.
Stop thinking about it, Tom.
God.
So how do you revive the club?
Well, one of the big things that happened was Anime Destiny brought a lot of...
Before that even, what ended up reviving the club was just, eventually there was a whole wave of brand new officers that all had a lot of enthusiasm that eventually trained over time. And so once we got all these new officers in, I mean, I was in that batch and then Chris was eventually part of that batch. We just started finding other people and saying, hey, you know, come hang out. It's not just about watching stuff anymore. It was an extension of let's do anything beyond just watching anime, which is basically did lead to the whole Anime Destiny concept. Now, really at Animage Alpha, from what I hear about the club now, it's really very social. Now things kind of reach out as opposed to let's just watch anime. I mean, let me ask you this. I think almost all of us, once we joined the club, stopped watching anime. It was a common interest. We knew about the stuff, but like, you know,
like to watch it.
Let's just go do something.
Yeah, well, that's your job.
Things that happened.
There's actually Albert and Dom experiences firsthand, because back in the day before people were actually introduced to be in the club, a guy named Brian Mount, who started off as, I think, the treasurer. Well, he didn't start off as treasurer, but he went from treasurer to being president. And pretty much everyone, all the officers at that time had left the officership. They had graduated, moved on, whatever. And so Brian Mel, being the person who spent most of his time in the
barricade, may it rest in peace,
which is Berkeley's local arcade that no longer exists for
it's a
many
freaking
years now.
Well, it's not even a gelato place anymore, is it?
It's like
Yes.
oh, it is.
Oh, it is.
It's empty.
It's empty now.
Wow.
Oh, those fuckers! When our companies get bought, we're buying that space and we're putting it in an arcade again.
So,
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, Brian Mao would look around and say, "Hey, you want to join our club?"
Actually, for me, it was slightly different. It was, I went to the anime club, and you know, I look inside and I'd seen whatever they were showing. I don't even remember. But the officers were outside playing cards, and you know, I think they were playing Magic. So I'm like, hey, I like playing Magic. And so I started playing Magic with them. And then it was like, the big thing was before family night, before any of this stuff, the officers would get together on Friday nights and just like
Go to Japantown.
play games, what have you. Right?
Anything in any order.
Right.
Whatever people felt like.
And so,
And
you
had
know,
cars for.
one of the officers came up to me and was like, oh, well, you know, if you like hanging out with us, go to this place on Friday night at this time. And I go, what? Oh, okay. So I go there and ring the doorbell, and they're like, who are you? And I go, well, you know, this person named Ann sent me here. I played Magic with
God, you got introduced by Ann.
I did! Take that. So Mal's like, okay, fine, whatever. You know, come on in. And then that's how it started.
Well, my point was that basically these were people who spent most of their lives inside their barricade playing video games. So what happened was most of the officers became these people who spent all the time playing video games, and so nothing else got done, and it infuriated certain officers.
Yeah, I got stuff
certain
done.
female officers.
And then again,
Anyways, she got very frustrated during meetings when you would spend, you know, 3 hours of the meeting that should have only taken an hour or less playing video games and not getting off video games.
I wasn't there for that part, I guess.
Yeah, that was
Well, then again, this is the thing that my first year in college, I didn't spend in the anime club because Ben scared me off.
Oh, really?